Good afternoon, everyone. I am so happy that you are able to join us today for our webinar, Florida Ready to Work, the why, the what, the how. I'm so privileged to have my friend, Tiffany Voss, with us today, who will be facilitating our webinar. Tiffany is the Director of Strategic Initiatives for the Florida Ready to Work program. She assists implementation partners, including adult education programs, with developing strategies to seamlessly align the Florida Ready to Work training solutions into courses benefiting Florida students and job seekers. You are just going to absolutely be totally engaged into this webinar today. Before we get started, I will remind you of a few housekeeping rules. You know that your microphones are all muted, but if you have a question or you have a comment, just go ahead and put it into the Q&A section. And Tiffany will be looking at those and addressing them throughout and possibly at the end of the webinar. So with all that being said, Tiffany, I am so honored that you're able to be with us today and our adult education practitioners in offering this webinar that is just super exciting for all of us. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Tiffany.
Awesome. Thank you so much, June, and all of your friends out there. I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity to share the Florida Ready to Work program with adult education. I have been with Florida Ready to Work and Win Learning, the company that powers Florida Ready to Work, for almost 2 years now. And since I started, I knew I wanted to get more adult educators involved in this program. So I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you so much. I will be taking questions at the end, so I hope you'll share those with us. And I'm going to give the presentation today. This is a two-part presentation. So today is going to be really the who, the what, the why, the how. And next week, we're going to really focus in more on the how and really embedding Florida Ready to Work into your adult education programs and into your curriculum. So today's really about the what it is and how it works. So let's go ahead and get started. I love to start this presentation with the why. So why Florida Ready to Work? Why is the state of Florida continuing to invest in this program for 18 years? Well, I'll tell you why, because businesses are asking for it. More than 80% of Florida business leaders across industry sectors, from everything from healthcare to manufacturing to customer service to hospitality and tourism and everything in between, are saying that foundational employability skills are what they're looking for. So many employers across our state know that they can teach individuals those technical skills, but they've got to make sure that individuals who are coming have those employability skills. And so the Florida Chamber of Commerce actually did a survey. They've got another survey that they're working on right now. But that is the reason why we're here and making sure that this is being touched on with all of our adult education programs throughout the state. So what is Florida Ready to Work? We are the state-sponsored career readiness training and credentialing solution. So we provide research-based soft skills, digital skills, and academic employability skills that are needed in all career pathways. Again, everything from manufacturing to healthcare and everything in between. Our program is delivered in partnership with high schools, adult education programs, technical colleges, state colleges, apprenticeship programs, workforce development boards, and our juvenile justice and corrections partners as well, along with employers themselves. And we also work with community-based organizations across the state who are looking to help individuals with their employability skills. The best part about this program probably is that this is a state-funded program. So the Florida Department of Commerce, previously DEO, provides Florida Ready to Work to all of these implementation partners, students, and job seekers across the state for free. So with our company, we provide this where you're able to access any of the training that I'm going to tell you about today, along with the opportunity for your students to earn these credentials. Again, the program is free. It is administered by the Florida Department of Commerce and managed by Win Learning, a national career readiness solution company. So let's talk about, give you kind of an oversight. If you have ever heard about Florida Ready to Work, you're probably thinking of bronze, silver, gold, or maybe you've thought about soft skills. But we've got so many exciting things going on right now, especially here in the 23-24 fiscal year, that we've got 3 new credentials that I'm going to tell you about today. So we have our soft skills credential, our digital skills credential, which is brand new to the state of Florida, and academic employability skills. And this has been revamped over the last couple of years. So I'm super excited to share that with you as well. So let's get into it. So I'm going to start with soft skills because that is typically the most important and really what employers are looking for. We define soft skills based on a couple of reasons. One, we've done a lot of research with employers across the country and in Florida. And 2, we've also looked through the U.S. Department of Labor's O-Net Job Zone framework, and we've looked at the skills that come up time and time and time again. And those are communicating effectively, conveying professionalism, promoting teamwork and collaboration, and thinking critically and solving problems. And again, communicating effectively, that's not just being able to stand in front of people. That's being able to use the tools that are at your hands effectively. So whether or not it's text messaging or email or video conferencing, are you doing that in the right way? Are you using social media the right way? And what your tone, not only verbally, but writtenly, but in the written aspect as well means, and how to acknowledge criticism as well, really being able to communicate. Conveying professionalism, just like it sounds, having the right attitude, being dependable, personal accountability, and helping to teach those skills in the workplace setting. Promoting teamwork and collaboration is just like it sounds. Being able to work on a team for the good of an employer, for the good of the job, being able to work together regardless of how you feel about a person, if somebody doesn't think like you or look like you, and being able to do that and lead in a team as well. And then, of course, my favorite, and I think probably the most important, thinking critically and solving problems. I cannot think of a job that exists that you do not have to be able to think on your feet and come with solutions, come with being able to provide a solution versus just acknowledging the problem. So being able to do that, and again, all in the workplace setting. That's how we define soft skills in the Florida Ready to Work program. So what does that result in? That results in the Florida Ready to Work soft skills credential. So individuals who earn this credential can get this, that's you can see here, signed by our governor, endorsed by the state of Florida, but also endorsed by the National Work Readiness Council. So if you have individuals who maybe think they're leaving the state and don't want a credential, you can show them that this is also endorsed nationally. All of our credentials, which I'll talk a little bit about later, can be downloaded immediately. They can be printed and they can be shared digitally on social media as well. Again, signed by our governor. Now, my favorite part about our credential, and I'm going to mention this more than once for sure, is that the back of our credential has all of the skills that the individual has mastered. So when you're helping a student develop their resume, when you're helping them put together maybe their LinkedIn profile, or really helping them fill out a job application, and they think, I don't have any skills, I haven't been working, I'm still working on getting my degree. If they've earned this credential, right here, you can see all of the skills that they've mastered. And these are the skills that employers are looking for. Every job application out there, every job posting out there, ask how you communicate and is looking for effective communicators and problem solvers. And that's a great tool you can use. So how do you get there? To help your students earn the Florida Ready to Work soft skills credential, they'll need to sit for a 1-hour proctored assessment. Now, those are assessments that you can give in your classroom. I'll talk a little bit later about how to get the program started with your students. It's a 39-question test. What I love about this test is it's a combination of multiple choice, but it's also a combination of best and worst case scenarios. So students are going to be given a workplace scenario, and they're going to have to choose, and they're going to be given a list of options on how to handle it. They're going to have to pick the very best way to handle it and the very worst way to handle it. And I got to tell you, I've had some CEOs take this assessment who have really scratched their head because they come to me and say, Tiffany, all of these were bad. Well, yes, they were all bad, but one was exceptionally bad. Or they were all great ways to do it, but one was the best way to handle it. So students have 60 minutes to take this test. All of our program is online, and that online assessment is scored in real time. So your student's going to know whether or not they passed or failed right then and there. Now, we don't monitor retakes. That's completely up to you as the teacher, you as the instructor. If you want to give your student a week in between taking the assessment, or maybe you want to give them a little bit longer, completely up to you on how long you want to do that. We do have that opportunity. And then, of course, we offer soft skills curriculum. So we're not going to just leave your kids hanging out there to take the assessment. We offer a 4-part modules to take the training. All of our training is provided online, and it's self-paced. So if a student starts with the curriculum on a Monday and they're only able to be in there for about 20 or 30 minutes, they can log out and they can log back in. Students can access the training 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as long as they have internet access. It is suggested to do the training on a computer or a laptop. You could do it on an iPad. That's where you're going to get the best visual. But if a phone's all you've got, you can take the training on the phone as well. We also provide pre-test and post-test for each of the modules, allowing you as the teacher to see how well they did before they took the training and then after they took the training. And then you know, once they've taken all of those trainings, whether or not they're ready to sit for the assessment. The last thing, and this is unique to our soft skills training and our soft skills solution, is we do provide optional classroom-based extension activities. So I love this for individuals who are really already talking about those important soft skills within the curriculum that you're teaching. Soft skills solution in our facilitator guide is a great way to just make sure you hit some of those points before you have your students sit for the assessment. So now let's talk about our newest solution, our digital skills solution. This is probably one of my favorites for adult education students, because as I've been traveling the state and listening to different folks across the state, what I've been hearing is, especially in the rural area part of our state, is that individuals are really nervous about using the computer in a workplace setting. And sure, a lot of folks are able to send text, they're able to send videos, they're able to post on social media, but can they upload a resume? Can they fill out a timesheet? A lot of folks are really just not as comfortable with that. And so Florida Ready Work Digital Solutions offers that training in a workplace context. So it's not just your elementary or talking to individuals at an elementary level. This is giving them real life examples of what's going to happen in the workplace. So going through those 5 modules that we have for digital skills, we break that down into computer operations, which is just like it sounds, identifying and understanding the parts of a computer, what the difference between a router and a modem, being able to identify popular software applications and the difference between software applications and hardware applications, and just basic computer knowledge that someone may not have had, maybe if they've been out of the workplace for a long time, they didn't grow up with a computer, or maybe they haven't had access to a computer for various reasons in a long time. And then we have internet browsing. Now, this one is really important. This talks about being not only responsible on the internet, but understanding when you do a Google search or any kind of search, what you're looking at, the difference between a government website, an education website, a nonprofit website, and then a for-profit or potentially a scam website. This really helps a user make some of those critical thinking skills about how to understand what they've searched for, how to best search for it, and how to evaluate what they get from those search terms. Then we have digital communication. Now, this is really, really important. Again, this hits to this communicating effectively, but when to use what kind of digital communication? When is it best to text your boss, and when is it best to have a face-to-face conversation, or if that's not possible, a video call? You know, you don't want to, maybe it's okay to tell your boss that you're going to be a few minutes late via text, but you certainly don't want to have one of those hard, difficult conversations of I'm leaving over text message. So this is a great opportunity for your students to not only learn what digital communication options are out there, but the best way to use them in a workplace setting, and also the etiquette involved, making sure you're on mute when you're not speaking, making sure that you're dressed appropriately when you're giving a presentation, all of those great things. Then we have digital documents. This one I love as well. This is a great opportunity to tell the difference between the type of documents that are available for individuals. So we don't go into specifics with Word versus Google Docs. We really just talk about them overall as a whole. So regardless of what organization an individual goes into, they'll be able to understand the basics of using a word type document or a word processing document, spreadsheets, slideshow presentations, those kinds of things. They'll also learn how to collaborate. I don't know about anybody else, but I've had to learn how to work Google Docs and have multiple people on a document at one time. That's been really new for me, who's been working with the internet and working with digital documents for my entire career. So for adults who are going back into the workforce, this is a great opportunity to get a head start before they head in there. And then, of course, digital security. We cannot have enough digital security out there. This is really understanding how to identify and understand what security policies are in the workplace setting, why they're important, password security, and of course, VPN, and a little bit of phishing in there as well. Really gives an individual that heads up as they're walking into a new job. So that all results, again, in our digital skills credential. I'm going to say it again, right there on the back. You can help your students identify what skills they've mastered, really giving them that confidence, right? If you've got a student who you've been working with a year or two, who's getting ready to try to apply for a job, or they're getting ready to graduate, and they're just not sure how to put it into words, I love that our credential does this. Right here, you can help them develop and write those skills out that they have. So how do you earn that credential? Again, the digital skills assessment is a 1-hour proctored assessment. Now, this one is 50 questions, but they're all multiple choice. All of Florida Ready to Work, I'll say it again, is career contextualized. And I know that's really important for our adult education partners, because you don't want to talk to them like they're 3 or 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds. You want to talk to them where they're at and make it meaningful. And Florida Ready to Work really does that. All of the questions in these assessments are career contextualized. They are real workplace settings. Again, online, scored in real time. If you need to give a student more time, we show you how to do that. It's pass or fail, and again, retaken as many times as you want. Of course, we also offer online training as well. Each of these 5 modules, self-paced. The user can go in, they can start when they need to, end when they need to. They have a pre-test and a post-test, so you as the instructor can make sure that they're ready to sit for that assessment. Throughout the way, there's going to be video-based and video-based conversations, check your knowledge, again, best and worst case scenarios. So third, and our final solution is our academic employability skills. So if you've ever heard of Florida Ready to Work, you may have heard of earning a bronze, silver, or gold, which is great. That makes everybody feel good, right? But what we heard from employers was, what does that mean? What does that mean if an individual's earned a bronze, silver, or gold? So over the last couple of years, we have completely revamped our academic employability skills, and we've made them achievement levels. But let's talk about what those academic employability skills are. So we all know that you've got to be able to use math, reading, and data in regardless of whatever job you are. But how are we taking those skills from the classroom and applying them to the workplace setting? So our Work Ready Math module really goes through real life problems, such as calculating dimensions. Does an individual, excuse me, know how much carpet to order? Do they know how much to take off of an item when they're having a sale? Can they calculate sales tax? When we come to our Work Ready reading, are they able to do some deep reading comprehension to be able to understand manuals or HR memos and understand what's being asked of them? Those are real life scenarios that we use throughout the Work Ready reading. And then we have Work Ready data, which is probably our most critical right now. I don't know about you guys, but I am looking at data every single day. I'm really having to kind of evaluate what's there and being able to make comprehensive decisions. And our Work Ready data module allows individuals to go through that and look at graphs and charts and flow charts and diagrams and really kind of test their knowledge on how they're able to take that information and apply it into a workplace setting. I love this for adult education students as you are helping them prep for GED, as you're helping them go through some of their other programs. I've gotten feedback that maybe some of those programs aren't always career contextualized. This really allows learners to go through and gain those skills, but in a workplace setting. So as I mentioned, We've done a complete revamp. And so now individuals who go through the Florida Ready to Work academic employability skills solution earn achievement levels. And those achievement levels are aligned directly to the U.S. Department of Labor's ONET Job Zone framework. So if you have a student who goes through and earns an achievement level 3, you know that they're ready for the next level of training for an achievement level 3. You should recommend them for jobs in a job level, in a job zone 3. And when you're working with employers, helping to understand where their jobs are and what job zone is a great opportunity for students to do. You can also start students. I'm loving the comments, by the way. I'm trying not to get too distracted by them, so thank you. But for students that you're just starting out with, putting them through the placement test for our academic employability skills gives you a great understanding of where they are, right? You may have students coming in throughout your semesters, throughout your terms, and working with them at different levels along the way. Florida Ready to Work, the academic employability solution, is a great way to just figure out where they are and kind of get them on a level playing field. So this is our academic employability skills credential. As you can see here, this sample student earned an achievement level 3. Now, if you look on the back, that student earned a 3 in math, a 3 in reading, and a 5 in data. So their overall achievement level is a 3 because your overall achievement level is going to be your lowest score. So if you've got a student who earns an achievement level 2 in math or reading or data, but they've gotten higher in the other on the other modules, you can work with them to help them take that assessment again and work their way up. So how do you earn the academic employability skills credential? So this one's a little bit different. There's 3 proctored assessments. Of course, you've got to get your level in math, you got to get your level in reading, you got to get your level in data. Now, each of these assessments are 55 minutes, but again, if you need to extend that time, you can. And these assessments, again, are scored in real time, and they can be retaken as many times as you need to. And again, everything's aligned to that U.S. Department of Labor's ONET Job Zone framework. So for the training for these, for the academic employability solution, we've got the 3 modules, and there's 5 levels of instructional content. Those 5 levels align directly with the U.S. Department of Labor's ONET Job Zone framework. So if you've got students who take our placement test, because each module starts with a placement test, and then it's going to put the student where they belong. So you may have Tiffany who starts off at a 2 in all of the levels, but then you may have Tim who starts off at a 5 in math, but a 2 in reading. Each individual is going to be able to work their way through the modules based on where they land after taking the placement test. One of the things I like to mention here too, especially if you've got students where English is a second language, or they're really kind of mastering some of those basic skills, we also have work ready basics. So if you have a student who takes the placement test in one of our 3 areas, and those placement tests say, hey, Tiffany's not quite ready for level 1, the system automatically takes them to work ready basics. And that is some really basic reading comprehension, telling time, counting money, still all in a workplace setting, so it's appropriate for adult learners, but also really kind of taking it back even more simple terms, so this individuals are allowed to really kind of build their skills up. So individuals have as much time as they need to go through this courseware. But again, if you're doing it in a big class setting, it might be different from student to student. So again, embedded student interactions, and then we have post-test at the end of each module. So you as the instructor can see, okay, Tiffany's gone through, she's done the best that she can do. Now let's sit her and have her take the assessment and see where she lands. I'm gonna pause just there for just a second, but those are our 3 solutions that we offer. Again, all of these solutions are free, and they are all career contextualized, and they are all offered online. So some of our system features that I kind of want to mention and just make sure you as proctors know are that you can run a report of your students and your class at any time, and you can see how long Tiffany has spent in the training. You can see how long, how well she did on the pre-test versus the post-test, and you can determine if she's ready. All of the proctored assessments, you get their scores in real time, so there's no waiting for someone to send it back. There's no waiting to hear from anybody else. These are all things that you can look at, see, and download and understand right then and there. You can also proctor those assessments in person or virtually. We've made that adjustment. So that is an opportunity you can do if you're teaching students remotely. And again, the students can also access those credentials as well. We also offer all of the curriculum is available in English and Spanish. And then we also offer the assessments in American Sign Language and Speech Stream. Now, I do like to point out, Florida law requires that all of the assessments be given in English. So if you have a student who goes through the training in Spanish, we highly recommend that they go back through it in English to make sure that they've mastered those skills. Now, our newest feature is our digital badging, which is just so wonderful. This is a great opportunity as you are helping students develop their digital profiles, as you're helping them fill out online application resumes. They can share all of their Florida Ready to Work achievements on social media on a digital resume as well. So this is kind of a snapshot. Wanted to show it to you a little bit closer. So this is what it looks like when someone shares their Florida Ready to Work credential on social media. And then this is what employers see when they click on the link. So if an employer were to be looking at me and to see whether or not I'd earned the credential and what that meant to earn the credential, they would come to this website, which is the Credly website, and they would be able to see what Tiffany did to earn the credential and what skills she mastered. They'd also be able to see that it was recognized by the state of Florida and how she worked to get there. I'm going to pause for just a second and share a video. Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear the video?
We can't hear the video, Tiffany.
Okay, I'm going to skip it. I'm not sure why. Zoom, sometimes we have a problem with that. So let's go over very briefly, because we're going to talk a lot more about implementation next week, but some implementation ideas for Florida Ready to Work. So this is a great tool. Again, I mentioned it earlier, to use with your GED prep or maybe ESOL students where you're trying to learn how to do that. June mentioned earlier as well, a part of your IET plans. We're going to go into that a little bit more next week as well. But this is also a great tool to kind of see your students' readiness for the next step of technical training. Are they ready? Do they have that job zone? Are they in the right frame of mind to go there? Maybe you've got students who are doing some on-the-job training or work-based learning experience. Those are all opportunities to make sure that they go through soft skills and digital skills as well, to make sure that they've got those skills ahead of time. This is great when you're talking to your employer community well, and you're trying to get them to take a chance on your students, and you're wanting them to, really work with you to make sure. Put them through soft skills and digital skills so you can tell the employer that, hey, I've worked with these students, they've earned these credentials, they've got the skills needed to be successful. I'm going to flip back real quick.
If someone came to me and wanted
So this was another video I was going to share, but I'm going to skip over that one. So one of the other ways that Florida Ready to Work works through is with apprenticeship programs. So if you're working with students who are then going into an apprenticeship program, Florida Ready to Work Soft Skills is a great solution. Florida Makes, the statewide manufacturing apprenticeship company, they work together, and all of their apprentices that are going through their IMT apprenticeship program earn the Florida Soft Skills credential. Oh, let's go back. Can you hear that?
No sound.
At our school, we
don't know why that's
not. Oh, there you go.
at our school, we are heavily industry certification, and the students welcome the industry certs. They get excited. So this was just another testing platform that we could give our students. And then for them to be able to place it on their resumes, be able to talk about it even amongst their friends and say, hey, I'm certified. I got a score of a 5. What did you get? Well, I got a 4. Can I redo it? I want to, make a better score. But for them to be able to put it on their resume when they started out as freshmen and seeing that all they had was basically education.
Did that play all the way through?
Education and maybe
Sorry.
a little job here and there that they got paid to do, or they did not get paid to do volunteer work. But now all of a sudden their resume is starting to fill up with all these industry certs, with the Florida credentials from Florida Ready to Work. So seeing all of that, that is, to me, makes teaching worth it.
I am sorry for those of you who could not hear it. I'm glad that some of you were able to hear it. But that was Angela McFarland. She was with the school that had the highest number of credentials last year. So we love to highlight her and the great work that they're doing in Escambia County. Now, that wasn't an adult education partner, that was a high school, but I like to share it because she is an educator and a longtime educator working with students who are focused on career pathways, which I know many of you guys are. So really working and using Florida Ready to Work as a tool to help students get ready before they go into on-the-job training and work-based learning is a really great way to make sure that students have those skills to do that. So I wanted to highlight a couple of students that we've worked with. My favorite one to highlight is a student who is already working. I started using the skills I learned at my job at Publix, and it really paid off. It became easier and for me to talk to the customers and my team, and I was able to connect with them and find out things I didn't know about them. And that's what this is all about. This is about students who are, maybe not have had those soft skills, maybe have not have been in a workplace setting before. This is a great opportunity for them to apply those skills into the jobs they have and into their everyday life. So anyone who is interested in utilizing Florida Ready to Work, this is not a required program. This is not a, necessity. It's just another tool that the state of Florida has provided for you to utilize in your classroom setting. So if you're interested, I hope that you will reach out after this presentation. We do offer proctor trainings. So what will need to happen is you'll need to identify a Florida Ready to Work champion. We will then work with you based on where you're located in the state. We have various customer success managers across the state. We'll identify the one closest to you, and she'll work with you to help get started. We'll get you enrolled into the program, and then we'll teach you how to utilize the program, how to enroll your students, and how to give those assessments so that your students can earn those credentials. We offer that training once a week, but we also do customized trainings for larger groups as well. The other great thing that I like to share is that our adult education partners in the state are able to earn an implementation partner payment. Because we are not career specific, we are more employability skills in general. We're not on the CAPE list or the master's credential list, but we do want to help provide some offset costs for the proctoring of assessments. So for each unduplicated credential, so if Tiffany earns the soft skills credential, the digital skills credential, and the academic employability skills credential, your organization can earn $30. So we earn up to $30 per student for each unduplicated credential, and that's paid twice a year. So for all the work you do between July and December, you get a payment in January, and for all the credentials earned from January to June, there's a payment that goes out in July. And so I am going to kind of go through the questions really quick. Someone has written about IET practices, and I think that's great. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, and that is actually next week's presentations. I promised you there was a part 2. Next week, we're going to go through each of the Florida Ready to Work modules and how they compare with the adult employability skills modules framework that DOE has put out. And we're also going to talk about putting together your IET plan as well. These are the contact information. Somebody asked for contact information. So my contact information is here at the bottom. If you are in the south part of the state, Holly McFadden is your customer success manager. And if you are in the Jacksonville, Orlando area, Valencia Strouder is your contact information as well. And if you're in the Panhandle, that's me. Let me get through some of these other questions. So great. I saw that Pinellas County is on here. Pinellas County is doing some great work in adult education with using Florida Ready to Work. So we're super excited to have you guys on board. Now, I talk really fast, so if anybody has any other questions, please let me know. And what grade levels are you targeting? So that's a great question. So Florida Ready to Work is being used in high schools throughout the state. We have a lot of high school programs who are utilizing Florida Ready to Work, specifically soft skills, prior to doing work-based learning. But really, a lot of our programs across the country are using it with adult education. So it's a great opportunity from 9th through post-secondary to really gain those skills and ensure that individuals have got those foundational academic employability skills. And in June, I am going to hand it over to you. It looks like some of the questions are about next week's training.
Tiffany, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
As Tiffany expressed, next week we're going to be having a follow-up webinar, which will be implementing Florida Ready to Work. And here we'll be talking about utilizing this resource for tools that can be part of our IET plans. You will see a feedback slide that is now on your screen. If you could take a minute to fill out this feedback survey, we really would appreciate your feedback, which is so important to us. I will tell you that this webinar, like all IPDAY webinars, are recorded and archived on the IPDAY website. So feel free to share it out with your staff and your other coworkers and utilize this great resource. We're going to be doing a lot of work with Florida Ready to Work. So next week, you'll hear another webinar and you'll hear some more constant professional development regarding this great resource. So again, I really want to thank you, Tiffany, for such a great presentation. And for all of you who were on our webinar today, thank you so much. And I hope to see all of you next week.
Thank you, June.